This is kind of an interesting article that came to my attention because last week I saw a family, there was a new visit to talk about their child's ADHD. The mom had gone to like a lab, like nowadays you can order labs without a doctor's order. She had gone and gotten a vitamin D test for her son and then started him on vitamin D. And before we had even had a chance to meet, he was doing a lot better when it came to emotional regulation and attention and all those sorts of things. And as a person that's always on the skeptical side of doing anything, I'm always like, okay, does it make that big of a difference? Let's do some reading because from her experience, it actually made a big difference. And the child himself said that things felt better after having just started the vitamin D, and we were able to work on other things from there. So I wanted to look and see. There was actually just a paper that came out. Let's see, this is 2025. The association between vitamin D concentration and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. And they looked at several different studies and got to a total of 24,000 children, which is a lot of kids, and found a couple of different interesting things. I tried to highlight them here and hopefully you can see them here. Children had lower with ADHD had lower vitamin D levels. Like on average, kids with ADHD had lower vitamin D levels. They didn't really get into the why of this might be, and there might be a lot of different reasons for that. One of the reasons that's really crappy is that kids with ADHD are often kept inside when everyone else gets out to a recess, which I have said many times and continue to say is absolutely a bullshit sort of procedure for children with ADHD. They need movement just like everyone else, if not more than everyone else. They need sunshine, and we shouldn't be withholding recess from them, which is just an aside unrelated to this article. But children with ADHD had lower vitamin D levels, and when ADHD total scores, attention scores, and Connor Parent questionnaires, which Connor Parent is one of the tools to look at like ADHD symptoms over time, all demonstrated significant improvement with vitamin D supplementation. Hyperactivity scores did not show significant change, but what this said to me is here's a really easy, cheap intervention. One, it's getting more sunlight. Two, it's making sure that foods that we eat support getting them vitamin D. And then three is adding vitamin D, which is a super cheap vitamin that you don't have to spend a fortune on. You don't have to get into a long subscription, a TikTok vitamin or anything along those lines. Just getting them more vitamin D, actually, without changing anything else, improved their attention, their Connor Parent scores, and their overall total ADHD. And so here's something that we can do is let's check a vitamin D level, and then let's get supplemented with vitamin D accordingly. A lot of times a year in a lot of different parts of the world, it's not easy to get outside. This, I don't think there was a bunch more. It just talked about how vitamin D deficiency has been found to be a potential contributor to many neuropsychiatric disorders due to its neuroprotective and immunomodulatory effects. We know that there's a lot of things with the immune system that can affect our brain and our thoughts and our experience and everything like that. There are also active vitamin D receptors and their activation enzymes found in brain regions linked to ADHD, and previous studies have shown that vitamin D may reduce ADHD symptoms. So again, I'm going to flip through to here. Given the high prevalence of vitamin D deficiency among children, especially children with ADHD, increased sun exposure, increased vitamin D intake during early development, and for those children that have ADHD, that might be an important part of their plan to get a better handle on their ADHD. Now, one of the things that I've been doing and actually really enjoying is helping parents look at the big picture of their child's ADHD with this ADHD Parent Compass. And I'll put a link below to do it, but it takes about 6 or 7 minutes to fill out, and it gives you a sense, because when we think about ADHD, we often just think about the hyperactivity, we often think about the inattention, but there's two other big areas when it comes to ADHD, which is emotional regulation, which we know children with ADHD have more difficulty with regulating emotions, and then executive functioning. And so executive functioning is the organizing, planning, and executing tasks and things along those lines. And so the thing that I like about vitamin D in particular is we know it can help with inattention, and that it can help with emotional regulation and executive functioning. The study didn't show that it made a difference with hyperactivity, but if we can expand these out, and reduce this, then we're going to overall be able to thrive with our ADHD brain and body even more. and it's easy. It is a low stakes intervention that has very low risk, which also makes me really like it. So vitamin D is one that I think about now. Magnesium is definitely one, and iron is another one too that I think about when it comes to managing ADHD symptoms and improving emotional regulation, hyperactivity, and attention is our iron, and then omega-3s. So if I had to comprise a kind of here's where I would focus from the biology standpoint and make sure that we have things lined up of things that we might add for our child with ADHD is vitamin D, magnesium, iron, and omega-3s. Obviously, this would be working and checking those levels and making sure that we're doing the right thing when it comes to supplementing appropriately rather than putting all our hopes and dreams on an Instagram or TikTok vitamin without a lot of scientific backing or even knowing what's in it. But this really helped me to have a better sense of how we might be able to help those children with ADHD in another way, which is the simple, straightforward vitamin D.